The men behind the obstruction were grateful for the enforced halt, for the day was blistering hot, the air motionless, and the heat as damp as steam. "You were remarking, Kaufman, on the ineffectiveness of generals?" Starbuck prompted his new junior officer. "If you think about it, sir," Kaufman said with a youthful passion, "we haven't got any real generals, not like the Yankees, but we still win battles. I reckon that's because the Southerner is unbeatable." "What about Robert Lee?" Starbuck asked. "Isn't he a real general?" "Lee's old. He's antediluvian," Kaufman said, shocked that Starbuck should even have suggested the name of the new commander of the Army of Northern Virginia. "He must be 55 at least." "Jackson's not old," Starbuck pointed out. "He isn't even 40 yet." "But he's mad, sir, honest. We used to call him Tomfool." "He must be mad, then," Starbuck teased Kaufman. "So why do we win battles despite having mad generals, ancient generals, or no generals at all?" "Because fighting is in the Southern blood, sir. It really is." Kaufman was an eager young man who was determined to be a hero. His father had died of consumption, leaving his mother with 4 young sons and 2 small daughters. His father's death had forced Kaufman to leave the Virginia Military Institute after his first year, but that 1 year's military schooling had equipped him with a wealth of martial theories. "Northerners," he now explained to Starbuck, "have diluted blood. There are too many immigrants in the North, sir. But the South has pure blood, sir, real American blood." "You mean the Yankees are an inferior race?" "It's an acknowledged fact, sir. They've lost the thoroughbred strain, sir." "You do know I'm a Yankee, Kaufman, don't you?" Starbuck asked. Kaufman immediately looked confused, though before he could frame any response he was interrupted by Colonel Thaddeus Byrd, the Faulkner Legion's commanding officer, who came striding long-legged from the rear of the stalled column. "Is that really Jackson?" Byrd asked, gazing across the river. "Lieutenant Kaufman informs me that the general's real name is Old Mad Tom Fool Squarebox Jackson, and that is indeed the man himself," Starbuck answered. "Ah, Kaufman," Byrd said, peering down at the small lieutenant as though Kaufman was some curious specimen of scientific interest. "I remember when you were nothing but a chirruping infant imbibing the lesser jewels of my glittering wisdom." Byrd, before he became a soldier, had been the schoolmaster in Faulkner Courthouse, where Kaufman's family lived. "Lieutenant Kaufman has not ceased to imbibe wisdom," Starbuck solemnly informed Colonel Byrd. "Nor indeed to impart it, for he has just informed me that we Yankees are an inferior breed, our blood being soured, tainted, and thinned by the immigrant strain." "Quite right, too," Byrd said energetically. Then the colonel draped a thin arm around the diminutive Kaufman's shoulders. "I could a tale unfold, young Kaufman, whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul, freeze thy young blood, and make thy 2 eyes like stars start from their spheres." He spoke even more closely into the ear of the astonished lieutenant. "Did you know, Kaufman, that the very moment an immigrant boat docks in Boston, all the Beacon Hill families send their wives down to the harbor to be impregnated? Is that not the undeniable truth, Starbuck?" "Indeed it is, sir. And they send their daughters as well if the boat arrives on the Sabbath." "Boston is a libidinous town, Kaufman," Byrd said very sternly as he stepped away from the wide-eyed lieutenant. "And if I am to give you just one piece of advice in this sad, bad world, then let it be to avoid the place. Shun it, Kaufman. Regard Boston as you might regard Sodom or Gomorrah. Remove it from your catalogue of destinations. Do you understand me, Kaufman?" "Yes, sir," Kaufman said very seriously. Starbuck laughed at the look on his lieutenant's face. Kaufman had arrived the day before with a draft of conscripted men to replace the casualties of Gaines Mill and Malvern Hill. The conscripts had mostly been culled from the alleys of Richmond, and to Starbuck appeared to be a scrawny, unhealthy, and shifty-looking crew of dubious reliability.